Hey friends, today we get to plant this gorgeous Royal Star Magnolia. If you watched yesterday's video, I gave you a little sneak peek and told you that this was going to be happening. I wasn't really planning on planting this tree today, but when I was up at the shrub lot and I saw it blooming, well, she just had to join my garden. If you're not familiar with a Royal Star Magnolia, oh my gosh, they are fantastic. First of all, obviously they are deciduous. So this is not going to be your classic magnolia that you may think of with those evergreen, big waxy leaves. It is deciduous in early spring. I mean, here we are in February and this sweet thing is starting to bloom. Early spring bloomer that does these gorgeous double white blooms that have a delicious fragrance to them. I mean, they are just very delicate, but very fragrant. Yesterday, when this was up on the shrub lot, the honeybees were all over these blooms. It has started to bloom, obviously, because I have some, but it is also absolutely covered in buds. So that's one of probably the biggest attraction, right, of the Royal Star Magnolia is that it has those early pure white double blooms, delicious fragrance to them. This is going to be more upright than it is wide. So if you have a narrow space, this would work really well. It could go along like an entrance or the side of your house, like something narrow, right? So it's going to be, I believe, I'll put the specs up there, I want to say 15 to 20 feet tall, about 10 to 12 feet wide, and really adaptable. It does well in well draining, really kind of nice loamy soil, lots of good organic matter. So we've got some land and seed compost we're going to add to it. It is considered a full sun tree or shrub. You can use it kind of either way. I know right now it looks like we're in the shade. There's a couple things happening there. One, it is winter time, so we're in some winter sun, not summer sun. Two, it is later in the afternoon, so the morning sun has already gone, and we are right here along the tree line. So this will get the full 6 hours that is considered full sun. It's just the time of the day and the time of year right now that we are in the shade. We are going to put this at kind of the back of the property, and it's going to be really a lone specimen tree. It is right here along where we have our evergreen trees on the back of the property, and behind me is the patio. We've got that beautiful cherry tree that has started to bloom. So we're going to have the cherry tree blooming about the same time as this Royal Star Magnolia. So excited to get it in the ground. Pretty basic. We are going to use the machinery because this is a 15-gallon container. So Jackson brought the bobcat down for us with the auger on it. So we're going to get a nice big hole, nice and aerated soil. We're going to use our biotone in there. And then, like I said, we're going to amend a little bit with our land and seed compost and then top dress. So if you ever see a Royal Star Magnolia in the nursery and you've got a good spot for it, grab one. You will not be disappointed with these beautiful spring blooms. So without further ado, we are going to get everything set up and we're going to get a hole dug for this sweet thing. Okay, folks, so you know we are all about like being real and being honest. So we were down there in that spot where we were, you know, where I told you we were going to put it. And we started thinking and looking around and we're like, yeah, this may not be like the actual best spot for it because of getting really good intense sun. Clearly, where I'm standing right now gets lots of good sun as it is a slap up in my face, but we're going to move it and we're going to put it here. So that was just the meeting of the minds between Jerry, Jackson, and myself. Because this is a small-ish tree, it'll fit really well. So behind me I have the 2 Oakland hollies, right? The dahlia beds just directly in front of me. The little garden shed is right off here to the side. And what's going to be really nice about this is that we will be able to see this sweet thing when we come in from the driveway. So we're going to get lots of views, maybe not when we're sitting on the patio. That's why we had the cherry tree to give us that gorgeous color that way. But when we come in and pull in, we'll have this gorgeous tree right here. We don't have to worry about the maple tree because, again, this one will be more petite in size. They're not going to compete for each other. So this is a great little spot to put it. Jackson is going to aug my hole, and so I'm going to let him get after it. right, so I got the Royal Star Magnolia planted in her new home. Now you may be looking at it because I know y'all are all about some straight trees, and it may seem like it's a little crooked. It's not crooked, it's the fact that it's a multi-trunked tree, and there was a large limb that I just noticed that had been trimmed at some point. So that's the beautiful thing though, because it being right here, sun comes up right here and sun sets over my right shoulder. So this is going to get lots of sun all the way around it, and it's still growing, right? So this tree is going to grow and it's going to flush out and it's going to fill in quite nicely. Now the maintenance on this Royal Star, really you don't need to prune it. If you wanted to keep it more of a tree shape instead of like a shrub, you know, I guess every spring you could come in and limb it up at the bottom so that you don't have the full coverage, you have more of a trunk. I don't know what I'm going to do. I kind of like the idea of leaving it as more of a full shrub than as a trunk tree. So I am not planning on pruning this at all. Of course, that could change in the coming years, but for now I'm just going to let it grow. You're going to want to water it thoroughly and deeply those first couple of years, right? It is a tree, just like other trees. You want to water it nice and deep, especially in those periods in the summer where you have lots of heat and maybe not a lot of rain. The beautiful thing about putting it here as opposed to where we were going to put it is that there is a hose right here at the garden shed. So one of the best ways to water a tree in nice and slow is to get your hose and just have it on a trickle, just a very small stream, right? Put it right there at the base of the tree. Set your timer on your phone or your watch for 45 minutes and do that once a week. If it's really hot and intense, maybe twice a week. You want that soil to be moist, not like, you know, sopping wet. But so be easy to water it, nice and thorough. I do not need to water it now because of course we are in February. We've had tons of rain. This soil is very moist. The tree had plenty of moisture in it, and then it's going to rain in 2 days. So I don't have to worry about watering it. Once my heat hits, then that's when I'll, you know, be more concerned about making sure that it gets regular water. It does have the biotone, which is a great starter fertilizer, so I don't need to fertilize it right now. In the coming months though, 6 to 8 weeks would be about the earliest that I would want to do it. I could go ahead and fertilize it. Magnolias tend to like that acid-loving fertilizer, so Hollytone would be a great one to use on that, and you just put it around the drip line of the tree and just work it in with your fingers into the compost. I did top dress with lots of good compost, the Land and Sea. Of course, it will amend the soil. It helps retain moisture in here. Now, when we do redo this bed as far as like with a top covering of mulch and everything, then of course this will get mulched as well. But this is just fine for right now. So she is very happy. I'm just gonna let her go and let her grow and enjoy her beautiful flowers. If you want to use them as some cut flowers, you certainly can. I think I'm just gonna let her do her own thing this year and just enjoy her and come out here and sniff on her beautiful flowers and let the honeybees and the pollinators enjoy her as well. Before we leave, I'm going to show you our cherry tree because she is so pretty and she is really starting to come into full bloom. So let's just move right over just there and let me show you the cherry tree. All right, my friends, so I am standing right beside our Okami cherry tree. This is an ornamental cherry tree. It does not produce fruit, but she does produce some beautiful, lovely, soft pink flowers. If it's not the earliest blooming cherry tree, it's one of the earliest. We have Yoshinos in the berm, and they're not even thinking about blooming right now. Where Okami here is just, she's not in full bloom, but she's getting pretty close. I don't think you can probably see, but there are honeybees all over these blossoms. They are enjoying the fragrance and all the great nectar in here very nicely, and I can hear it. There's just a buzz. So this is really fun because we have this beautiful cherry tree right here. It's just right off the patio. We can see it from inside the house. We can see it on the back porch. We can see it on the patio. When Jerry and Emily go and park, they can see it as well. This is the third spring for this Okami, and so it will just continue to grow and bloom and thrive and get nice and big. Obviously, this is going to be a single trunk tree, so we will keep it that way and just let the canopy get nice and big. That way we can come in here and have plenty of plants underneath which I do. But yeah, so this is just something to think about when you're planning your garden, right? Think of those 4 seasons. I realized a couple of years ago, I was like, we do not have anything for really early spring, whether it's, you want to call it late winter or early spring. We were really lacking. So that's where the Okami cherry tree, the Royal Star Magnolia, your Japonica camellias, all of those are going to be blooming this time of year, right? So coming out of winter, going into spring, it still can be quite chilly. Like this morning, it was in the 30s, but these flowers should be able to handle it to like a light freeze. Now, if we had a hard freeze, it would burn them off, but thankfully we don't have any of that kind of weather coming in anytime soon. But just look at your garden all year round and kind of figure out, where are you lacking? A lot of times we just think of like early spring, summer, that time with lots of annuals and lots of flower power, which is wonderful and amazing, and I love that. But our gardens are with us for, 12 months out of the year. So let's think about all those different months in the year and let's add to it. And that's the beautiful thing about gardens, is you're constantly adding, tweaking, changing, evolving, however you want to look at it. They are always growing. And so that's really fun to add in. So between this Okami and the Royal Star, man, I think we are off to a great start. So if you come across either one of these, make sure you, if you've got room, grab them and put them in your yard. Early spring color is a fantastic thing. As always, thanks so much for gardening with Creekside. Y'all have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.